Hello everyone, welcome back to the Chemical Process Design video course with me Anggit Raksajati, and in this video we will continue our previous case study about the DME synthesis from methanol. Now we will continue with the rigorous simulation for sizing purpose. So this is the simulation at the end of the previous video and the previous course. We finished the simplified or the shortcut simulation to complete the heat and material balance of this process. We still use some simplified unit of equipment such as a simple heater, a simple cooler, a conversion reactor instead of a PFR, and a shortcut distillation instead of the rigorous distillation. How we put the, for example, the conversion directly into the conversion reactor, let's say it's 90%, and then the stoichiometric coefficient directly. And for the distillation, we still haven't identified the actual stage required, so we just identified the key components in bottom end distillates, and then the pressures, and then the reflux ratio that we will use. And after those simplified simulation, we get the values of the actual number of stages required, which is at this case around 18 stages, and the optimal feed stage at about 5 or 6 stages. So now we have to continue with the rigorous simulation, but we don't have to directly replace the shortcut unit of equipment. So in this case I will make a split stream for a rigorous sizing. So the main objective is to get the actual dimensions of those unit of operation, but the main heat and material balance is still connected to the shortcut unit of operation to avoid the risk of heat and material balance unconverged. Okay, and the rigorous sizing will be done when the outlet of the shortcut and the rigorous unit within tolerance. So for example, when the heat and material balance for this reactor outlet is almost identical with the reactor out dummy, that tells us that this sizing purpose have been completed, as well as the distillation column when the distillate one already have an almost identical mass balance and the operating conditions with this one. That means we finished the sizing for this first distillation column. How to do that? We need to add a couple of inputs for this rigorous equipment. For example, for the plug flow reactor, instead of directly inputting the conversion, now we have to put the order of the reaction, which is provided in the previous video. Okay, so because this is a first order of reaction with regards to partial pressure of methanol, now we put those information in the forward order in the methanol and express the basis as partial pressure basis instead of other basis such as a concentration. And then in terms of the number, we can put those information at the reaction part, and then the K0 could be put as Arrhenius number, and make sure that you already select the correct rate units. Okay, this has to be identical with the number provided. If you choose the wrong units, that will give you a very inaccurate results. And in terms of the activation energy, you can put the number 18.48 kilojoule per mole into the E, or the activation energy part. For the rigorous distillation, we will have to put the amount of stages that is given from the shortcut simulation. For example, now we try, in this case, 19 stages, and then the location of the feed, and then we play around with the reflux ratio, the distillate rate, and the component fraction in order to get into the required product of the distillation. Okay, so let's start with the HYSYS. I'm going to use the simulation from last week exercise. So we just need to continue the DME simplified case study, but now I will save it as a new case. So instead of DME simplified, now I'm going to name it DME rigorous. So every time something bad happen with your rigorous simulation, you can always go back to the previous simplified case study. Okay, so just a quick reminder about what we've been modeling. In the previous exercise, we finished the pump or the feed preparation, the heating, preheater of the reactor, and then that is the reactor itself. We still use a conversion reactor by directly using the conversion, assuming the conversion by set a number that the temperature of the reactor exit has to be 365 degrees C. Okay, because this is a adiabatic exothermic reaction. And then for the heat cooler, this is to prepare before we send it to the first distillation column. And for the distillation column, we already choose the correct light key in bottom and the correct heavy key in distillates. Okay, and then we select the pressure so that the temperature of the top or the distillate will be around 45 degrees C, which suits our cooling utilities available. Based on this exercise, we get the number for the performance of the distillation column, which will be around 20 trays, and then the optimal at 5 stages. Same thing for the second distillation column. Okay, so let's add the new rigorous equipment. So you go to the view and then model palette, and then first I would like to change the conversion reactor with the PFR. Later on I will add the first distillation column and the second distillation column. For the heat exchanger, I will not replace it with the shell and tube heat exchanger in this exercise or in this video. I will do that in the next video because I will talk as well about the heat integration purpose. Okay, so for the reactor, we have to choose the plug flow reactor, which looks like a pipe, and then again I will just add those equipment below the conversion reactor. I will not replace it. Okay, and then what I will do is I will connect this rigorous reactor with the same fit so that I will get the identical fit condition for the conversion reactor as well as the PFR. How to do that? I just need to double click on the PFR and then choose the inlets. In this case, my inlet would be the hot fit. Okay, and by doing that, now I get my split stream. If you can't do that, the option in HYSYS will not allow you to split the stream. Then you have to go to the file and then you go to the options and then make sure that you checklist this first row, allow multiple stream connection. So tick checklist. After you do that, you will be able to link one stream into 2 or even more unit of equipments. Okay, energy, we don't have to add anything over here because again this is a adiabatic PFR, no heat exchange between the system with the environment. For the outlet, I'm going to, let's say, give a name, reactor product dummy. Okay, so once you do that, the flow sheet looks alright. Then you just follow the instruction from HYSYS. Okay, it requires a reaction set. Okay, reaction set. As you can see, now we only have one set of reaction, which is a conversion reactor, and it's actually not suitable for this kind of reactor. We need to express the power law reaction, so we have to add another set of reaction. So I will close this reactor for now. Save it. I go back to the properties. So you check that in the reaction, now you only have one set of reaction, which is a conversion type of reactor. So now I have to add another set of reaction, set 2, and the reaction is not modeled as a conversion reactor, but now because I have it expressed as a power law, then I will choose a kinetic. Okay, be careful even if it's for PFR, but if the reaction is modeled as a LHHW kinetic expression, you have to choose the heterogeneous catalytic, but for now kinetic should be sufficient because we have the power law expression. Okay, double click. Now you just have to define your reaction, methanol, your feed, and then water and DME, the stoichiometric coefficient. It's the same arrangement with the conversion reactor type. minus for feed and positive for the product, and then forward order. Okay, you see that once you put the coefficient, HYSYS will automatically assume that this is an elementary reaction. That means your order of the reaction will be the same with your coefficient of stoichiometry. But that's not always going to be correct. Let's say you have a not elementary reaction. That means we have to update those numbers, and luckily we already have those numbers. Again, for example, the kinetic expression is already given. The partial pressure of methanol is actually only as a first order, so we have to update those number. Okay, and we will also use this information about the Arrhenius number 1.21 by order of 6, and then 80.48 kilojoule per mole. Okay, so let me go back to my simulation. Now I'll update this and then check the units. Okay, check the units. It has to be in hour. 1.21 E6 80.48 kilojoule per kilomole. Okay, double check whether I put the correct unit. Okay, it's actually kilojoule per mole, so I'll still put it in the wrong units, so I'll have to fix it. For the others, it's kilomole per meter cubic per hour kPa. So the basis unit has to be kPa because we express it in kilopascal. Okay, we haven't changed the basis. That's why the basis unit is still not expressed in pressure. It's still expressed in concentration. So we have to change that because we have the kinetic expression in partial pressure. Once you do that, the basis unit change. Now it's correct. It's already in kilopascal. And then the base component is methanol. Reaction phase, be careful. We have a gas phase reaction, so change it to vapor phase. Okay, now I'm going to change the activation energy. I still haven't select the correct unit, so it has to be kilojoule per mole, kilojoule per gram mole. Okay, so now it's ready. So I can close it. It's still not attached to the fluid package, so click add to FP. Okay, it's green bar, that means we're ready to go. So I'll go with the PFR gain, reaction set. Now I can choose the set 2, which is the kinetic expression, the power law expression. Okay, once we do that, the status change from unknown reaction to unknown dimension. So we go to the rating. This is where you have to put the guess or the estimate or the starting point of your dimension. This is why it's not recommended for you to finish the PFR at the first iteration, because it's too much of input where our mass balance has not been solved completely. Okay, so just use your starting point, but be careful with some of the assumptions. Okay, for example, void fraction. This is very important. We have a plug flow reactor with a heterogeneous catalyst, so that's a fixed bed. That means the void fraction cannot be 1. Okay, when we choose a void fraction as 1, that means it's completely void. That means we don't have any catalyst inside of the reactor. So go back to your fluid mechanics course and then check what would be the range of the void fraction for a fixed bed. Okay, in that case, it's gonna be around 0.35 up until 0.45. So I'm going to choose the average. Let's say it's 0.4. And if you have the fluidized bed reactor, the void fraction will be higher. So maybe 0.55 for a bubbling bed, maybe close to 0.7 or even 0.8 if you have a CFB or the circulating fluidized bed. And then the number of tubes, this is also very important. This is adiabatic fixed bed reactor. So it's a single tubular reactor instead of a multi-tubular reactor. Okay, so for now 1 is correct, but for the other case where you want to use a tubular reactor, that has to be increased to the amount of tubes that you have inside of the reactor. Now we go to the length and the diameter. Again, we still have no clue about this. What we have to do is we have to guess the number and later on confirm that using those numbers it will get the same conversion with our previous simplified reactor. Okay, so I'm just going to add some random number, length S3, diameter S1, so that the L per D will be 3, the typical L per D. And then the number change, now it goes to an unknown delta pressure. Okay, so you go to parameters, and then in the delta P you can choose the user specified for a simplified model, but you can also use the Ergun equation once our dimension have been finalized. Okay, so for now I'm going to use the same pressure drop. Okay, now I realized that we haven't actually put a pressure drop in the previous simulation. Okay, and you can add that to make it more identical. Okay, so in the conversion reactor parameter, let's say you want to put 50 kPa or 0.5 bar. Okay, it changed our process. Hopefully that can be solved. Okay. Okay, so it's okay. Again, no worries. Once we change the pressure drop, it's still able to produce our product at the required capacity and at the required composition. So we can continue with the rigorous reactor. So I'm going to use the same pressure drop. So it's 50 kPa. Okay, 50 kPa or 0.5 bar. Once you do that, okay, it's green bar. That means it's finished for the PFR. But again, be careful. We have to check the conversion. Previously, the conversion itself has to be 82%, so that we will get a temperature of below 365 degrees C. Okay, so now you can already notice that the temperature change doesn't match. Okay, it's too low. That means the conversion will be quite low. You can confirm that by going to the reaction and then results. You see that your actual conversion is still 6.5% instead of 82%. Okay, so that means our gas is still quite far from the actual required dimension of the reactor. So you go back into the rating and then change the number. Let's say now I increase by 50%. Okay, it's already getting closer to the actual temperature of our conversion reactor. Let's say now 6 and 2. Okay, now the temperature already becomes too hot. That means our gas already higher than the actual conversion. It's already close to 100%. This is tells you that the dimension of the reactor is too big. Okay, so using those exercise, now we can finalize the actual dimension of the reactor. So let's say 4.8. Okay, it's still not good enough. And if this is becomes too much for you to manually change the number, it's a good time for me to introduce a new feature of HYSYS. Okay, so let's say I'll keep the length as 5 and then I will change the diameter later on. Okay, how to do that? I go to the view and then model palette. Now I'll go with adjust. Okay, that's in the not in the manipulator. Okay, in the manipulator you add adjust. So what's the purpose? Now you can leave HYSYS to iterate the correct number in order for you to get the target of this reactor. So you go to the adjust. What's the concept? You adjust some variable in order the target variable achieve your required number. Okay, in that case I will adjust my dimension of the reactor, which is a PFR 100. Okay, and you can choose what would you like to be adjusted. You can change, for example, the number of tubes. You can change the tube diameter. You can change the tube length. Once our gas already close enough, it's a good time to choose let's say a tube diameter or a tube length. It's really up to you. Let's say I want to choose the tube length. Okay, let's say I want to use a tube length, and then the tube length will be manipulated in order for me to get the conversion of this reactor to be 82%. Okay, so you can go back to the PFR, for example, and then can you get the actual conversion? Okay, choose that, and we already have the number from the previous simplified calculation. It has to be 82%. Okay, it's already and then we have to go to the parameters to give a range, the minimum and the maximum of the range that would be represents the actual length that will give us the 82%. We already know from the previous exercise that length of 5 meter will give us about 60%, okay, at this diameter. If you change the diameter, of course the number gonna be changed. So you can very certain to put the minimum, let's say in this case, let's say 4. It has to be above 4 to get into the final 82%, and the maximum you can give, let's say 10, and maximum iteration, maybe I'm going to increase it to help HYSYS get into the number. And then you can check, once we increase the maximum iteration, the color change into green. You can check the monitor. Okay, so adjusted value, so HYSYS requires 12 iterations to get into the final numbers. So from 5, which is 60%, now into the 12th iteration, HYSYS find the final number. The length has to be 5.76 meter in order to get conversion of 82%. You can save it, and you can check that the temperature already quite close to our simplified simulation. So you can confirm that. For example, I will open these two streams. Okay, so the temperature still difference by about 0.2 degrees C. Pressure already good, mass flow already identical, and then you can go to the composition. Okay, the composition is already quite good. Okay, it's already identical. That means we've already finished the sizing of the PFR. So you can realize that if we already finish with the complete loop of the simulation, it's actually very fast to finish the sizing of the PFR. Okay, and even if you want to connect it with the actual stream, it's not going to cause us a problem. Okay, so let's say now the stream 1, which is going to the cooler, will be replaced with my actual stream coming out from the reactor. Okay, so you can save it just in case. Okay, now I'll go to the heat exchanger, to the design. Instead of receiving the stream from stream 1, now I will connect it with my actual reactor from the reactor prod dummy. Okay, now it's connected. Again, if you have some problem, just fix it. Okay, and now it's complete. So now even the main heat balance already connected with the rigorous reactor. But if you're still not sure about that, again, it's really up to you if you still want to connect with your simplified reactor. So I'm going to convert it back. And if you have some problem, just fix it, because nothing should really affect, because the mass balance should be identical. So some of you may not even have this problem. Okay, no worries, less than 1 minute we can fix it. So I'll keep it like this for now, just in case. Okay, so it's still connected with the main simplified reactor. Okay, so it's finished. Now I can continue with my next rigorous unit of equipment, which is my distillation. So how to do that? Again, you just have to go to the model palette and then go to the separator and find the rigorous distillation unit. Okay, this is the one, the distillation column. Again, the same technique. You see that if you find that some of the rigorous equipment annoys you, for example, this one, we don't connect anything with the plug flow reactor, but they want to calculate something because of those addition, you can ignore this equipment for now. Okay, we've already finished the sizing. Okay, let me see what's the problem. Adjust variable, reset. Okay, let's wait until they finish with the sizing of the PFR again, and then we will ignore once it is converged into the actual conversion. Okay, now HYSYS requires more iteration because of the change in the mass balance, but let's wait for now. It's already quite close to 82%. So hopefully they can finish it soon. Okay, if you find something strange, you can reset it. Okay, and then you can stop by putting the ignore. It will stop the adjust. I think the problem is because we haven't changed the number in the step size. So every iteration they will increase the step size by 2.5 meter, which is very big. So let's say from 4 meter they will try the next iteration at 6.5 meter. So that's probably too big. Okay, so by changing the step size into a lower number, I guess it will help HYSYS to find the actual number. So see, after I change the step size, now from 4.0 it will increase to 4.1 and so on. Now they can get the adjusted value even in one iteration. Okay, and we can save it. And if you also want to explore about the PFR, you can do that. So you can go to the performance, for example, and then maximize it, and then you can notice that there will be a lot of options. For example, my composition. Okay, go to the composition and then go to the plot. You can do that, mole fraction, and then you select all the components. Now we can get the actual composition profile inside of the reactor very easily. Okay, from the inlet at 0 length up until close to 6 meter at the exit of the reactor. Okay, and that I guess would be very helpful. Or even if you want to go into a more fundamental numbers like the reaction rate, you can go to the reaction rate and then the plot reaction 2. Okay, now you get the reaction rate profile inside of the reactor. Okay, so I'll leave it at that point, and you can explore it later. Okay, it's already finished, so I will ignore it for now so that it will not disturb me for the distillation simulation. So I have to open my shortcut distillation, open the performance, and then I can open my rigorous. Open side by side. Okay, now again the same technique. Let me close it first. Shift N, so everything goes back to the name of the stream. I will connect my rigorous distillation with the feed of the shortcut distillation, which is the cool product. Okay, so now the inlet stream will be my cool product. And even by the look of this rigorous distillation, you can notice that we will require to input a lot of information. That's why we can't go directly into this rigorous distillation. Okay, so for example, amount of stages. Default would be 10, but actually now we already know from the shortcut distillation it requires 19 stages. Inlet stage at 5. If some of you observe a number slight different with the number, that's fine. Okay, maybe your calculation gives you 20 stages or 18 stages, that's really fine. You don't really have to worry about that. Okay, for the condenser, again, make sure that it meets our process requirement, which is a total condenser. Now I'm going to give the name of this equipment very similarly to the name of the equivalent stream in the shortcut distillation. So for the condenser, it's QCon1, let's say now it's QC1. Reboiler, it's QRep1, so it's QR1. So I can remember very easily. Okay, overhead liquid, it's distillate 1, so distillate 1. And then for my bottom 1. Okay, once you do that, you can go to next. This is to choose the type of the reboiler. Do you want to choose the one screw, the circulation with baffle or without baffle, or the regular high CC boiler, or you want to use the heat exchanger? For now, I will use the default, which is the regular. Okay, next. Now the condenser pressure. Again, you already have this number from the previous shortcut distillation. 950 kPa, while the reboiler would be 1015 kPa. Okay, next. Optional condenser temperature estimate. Again, we already have the number from the simplified or the shortcut simulation. It's going to be around 45 degrees C. It's going to be around 155.8. Next, reflux ratio. Okay, and actually the number already provided. You can go back to the worksheet in the shortcut column. I believe the number is 0.6. I will confirm that later. Okay, so once it's done, okay, let me check. Okay, the reflux ratio is correct to be 0.6. When it's done, then we are ready to perform the rigorous simulation. Okay, I will close my shortcut simulation. I will save it just in case. Okay, now maximize it. It's still unconverged. What you have to do is you go to the monitor. This is where most of the variations in the rigorous distillation is done. Okay, and you can also notice a couple things, a couple very important things. Okay, you have to always make sure that the degree of freedom has to be 0. Okay, how to change that? You go to the columns and then you see that there are 2 rows which is an active flows. Okay, if you remove one of those, your degree of freedom will increase. Okay, once you put that number and then you put another one, that's become -1 or over specified. Okay, so make sure that you choose the correct number of rows So for a default or for a standard distillation where you have one reboiler and you have one condenser, you have to tick at least 2. Okay, if you only have reboiler without condenser, that means you only have to tick 1. If you have only one condenser without reboiler, again you only have to tick 1. If you don't have any reboiler and you don't have any condenser, that means your degree of freedom will directly 0 without putting any number. Okay, so that's the rule of thumb. So for now, the reflux ratio is already given, the number 0.6, but the distillate rate we haven't add anything. Again, to do this, I have to check my shortcut simulation. Okay, so let me minimize this, and then I will go to my distillate rate in the shortcut distillation, which is your dis1 stream. Okay, the easiest way to do that is I go to the dis1 and then go to the molar flow 108.7, control V. See, the number actually already rounded. That's why it's safer for you to control C and then control V in the number. So you don't type 108.7 because that may be a wrong specific value. Okay, enter. See, once you do that, and you can check the profile of the temperature, the profile of the pressure, and the profile of the flow. Okay, and you can check whether your simulation gives you correct results. Okay, now you have your distillate and your bottom. Okay, it seems very odd for me. Your distillate is okay. I see the problem now. Temperature is 2.2, the bottom is 133. Even your composition will be incorrect. Okay, because that's very large from very big difference with the shortcut distillation simulation. You can go to the distillate. Okay, you already help with the correct temperature in the condenser and help with the correct. Okay, so now what's the problem? Okay, this is the problem. Okay, so this is actually intentional. When you put some wrong number, it will give you wrong results. Okay, so be very careful. You may notice that I've put the wrong pressure estimates. Okay, it has to be 995 kPa while I put too much zero in this one. Okay, and even the pressure is not logical because the pressure in the condenser is higher than the pressure in the reboiler. That's why you have to fix it. So it has to be 995 kPa. Okay, once I do that, I'll go to the monitor, I run it again. Okay, now it looks much better. Why? Because the top stage already reached around 45 degrees C, the bottom already reached around 155.8, and it looks good. Okay, because the temperature is gradually increasing when it reaches to the bottom stage, and that should be the normal. Okay, now I go to the worksheet, composition. Okay, it's better, not perfect but better. Why? Because now we get the DME at around 95%, which is still below our target, 99.5%, and even the water and it still contains a lot of DME at the bottom of the distillation column, but that's very normal. Okay, that's very normal. Why? Because we still use the exact number of results from the shortcut distillation, and that always gives us worse results when we put those numbers into the distillation rigorous column. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to fine-tune your rigorous distillation. How to do that? You want to check your composition has to be 99.5% of DME. Okay, so to do that again, as I told you earlier, everything will be adjusted in the monitor. So you want to set your composition. How to do that? You go to the add spec, And then you go to the column component fraction. Fraction is a composition. Okay, so what do you want to set? Your main product is DME at the top. That means your stage has to be at the condenser because that's the top column. And then it will be in a liquid phase, that's correct. What will be the specified value? It has to be 99.5 of DME. Okay, once you do that, you can check that your specified value is still above your current value, the numbers provided in the worksheet. Okay, so what you have to do now, you want to set this as an active component. Okay, do whatever necessary for me to get this high composition. That means you have to let one of the previous active variables, which one would be compromised? Do you want to manipulate the distillate rate or do you want to manipulate the reflux ratio? And you have to think about the consequence. Will there be any problems if I increase my reflux ratio, let's say to 1? It's not really a problem. I mean, you just have to provide more reflux pump, a higher reflux pump. Probably you have to provide a higher amount of condenser duty, but that's very doable. Okay, but what if the consequence if I change my distillate rate? Will that be a problem? Yes, there will be a problem with that. Why? Because our expected product capacity will change from 5 ton per hour into some, probably even a lower number. Because of those explanations, I will compromise my reflux ratio. Okay, you don't have to work at 0.6 reflux ratio, you can change that, but I want my top product to be 99.5%. Okay, within seconds, now it's good. Your specified value match your current value. Your reflux value now change. So from 0.6, it has to be actually close to 2 reflux ratio in order for me to get 5 ton per hour of DME. Okay, it matches our purpose at 99.5%. Okay, so it's perfect. Now the actual reflux ratio has to be increased. But if you don't really like this high reflux ratio, of course there are a lot of options. Okay, remember your separation course. If you want to decrease your reflux ratio at the same purity of your products, it's very doable. How to do that? You have to increase the amount of stages. Okay, by increasing the amount of stages, there will be a more efficient contact between liquid and vapor, and you still can get the same purity with a less amount of reflux ratio. Let's say I want to change to 25. Just to give you an illustration, I increase 6 stages, and then we can see how the reflux ratio will change from 1.98. Now it reduced to 1.5. Okay, so it's an optimization between capital cost and operating cost. Okay, if you increase the stages, that means you increase the capital cost of the column, but you reduce the operating cost. Why? Because your reflux pump will be smaller, even your condenser duty will be smaller. Okay, let's check the number again. Now the condenser duty is around 1355 kilowatt. Let's say I want to convert it back into my previous number. Remember the number, okay? It's from 1355. Let's say I want to change it back. Run. Okay, close to 2. Condenser duty. Okay, it increased by about 250 kilowatt. That's very logical. If you increase the amount of reflux, that means you increase the load of your condenser. So again, it's a matter of optimization between capital cost and operating cost. So for now, we'll leave it at that because it's already gives you the correct product specs. So that's good for now. Okay. And we can continue the evaluation of this column. And this is actually a very good feature of HYSYS starting from V10, I guess, V10 and V11. Once it converts and gives you the correct results, it gives you this number of stage, it gives you the correct composition and the performance. Okay, you can see the plot of the, for example, the profile of temperature, profile of pressure, profile of composition. You can do that, okay, very easily. So that's the profile of the composition inside of the column, but they haven't give us the complete dimensions. Okay, they haven't we haven't received the diameter of the column, the height of the column. Okay, why? Because we haven't finished the internal calculation. And this is again a very good feature in HYSYS. You can go to the internal and then set what would be the type of your internal. Okay, add new, and then by doing that, let's say we want to keep one section of internal starting from the top first stage up until the 19th stage. Okay, and then you can choose the type of the internal. Do you want to use a tray or do you want to use a packing? Okay, let's say you want to use the default tray and sieve tray, which is the cheapest of all. Okay, and the default of the tray spacing using a sieve tray will be around 0.6 meter, and it will give us at about 0.76 meter for us to perform this separation process. But you can see that the details, by clicking view, will there be any error or even a warning? Okay, and you can see the hydraulic. This is the hydraulic evaluations of the column. Okay, so the sizing criterion, we want to keep the percent jet flood and downcomer at maximum 80%. This is what is known as percent flooding. At 100% flooding, the flooding will start to happen in the column, and that will cause an operational problem. That's why we want to give some tolerance, so it's usually capped at maximum 80% percent flooding. Okay, and for the other component, you can change the geometry assumption. In terms of the message, okay, the diameter is 0.76 meter. We recommend that this column and any column with diameter less than 0.9 meter design as not to exceed 75% jet flood. Okay, so that's a good message. So if you want to do that, you can change the number to 75, for example. Okay, once you do that, the message is not already, it's deleted. Okay, and you can check the results. Okay, the results, the diameter now changed to 0.786 meter, and in terms of the results, you go to the summary, maximum percent jet flood already maintained below 75%. Even if you want to go tray by tray analysis, you can check it. Okay, now from the first up until the 19th stage, the maximum flooding is 75%. You may notice that there will be some variation in terms of the number, probably if you use V10. Okay, I'm using the V11 HYSYS. If you use a V10, maybe the results will be slightly different, the message will be slightly different. That's not really a problem. Okay, if you have a problem and you can't fix it, the message still keep appearing. Okay, the other option is you can increase the section of the distillation unit. Okay, so this is still one section. If I add two sections, for example, now I can manipulate the size of the diameter. Okay, from 1 to 5 and from 6 to 19. Again, at the top stage, the diameter doesn't change, but you notice at the 6 to 19 stage, that's below the feed location, the diameter shouldn't be as high, as big as those top section. So that's very possible, and it's not really a problem. Okay, so you can view now even the results. Message diameter is 0.55. Recommend the jet flood to be below 75%. they recommend below 0.6 meter, consider using a pack column instead of a tray column. Okay, so you just have to read the message from HYSYS from the hydraulic perspective, what would be the best type of internal for this one. So, but what would be the benefit of having two sections? Now you go to the tray, you see that the jet flooding or the percent flooding now already much stable, okay, between 60 to 80%. Okay, and if you remember previously, if we keep one big diameter from top to bottom, at the bottom the flooding will close to 30%, and maybe not really, that's not really helpful for us during the operation. So you can optimize the hydraulic, and if you want to follow the instruction from HYSYS that below 0.6 it's not really a good idea using a packing, just change it. Okay, and to make it consistent I want to change it to packing as well, that's fine, and you will notice that the diameter will finally change depending on the surface area provided by each internal. Okay, so that's still a random packing, a pole ring, and if I want to change it, let's say, to the structure packing, which is usually used nowadays, for example I want to use a Marapak, same thing over here, it's a structure packing produced by Sulzer, and then that's the packing dimension. You can choose 125 or 250. That tells you the surface area of this packing. If it's 250, that means you will get 250 square meter for every 1 cubic meter of volume of packing. For 125, that means you will have 125 square meter of contact area for every 1 cubic meter of your packing. Okay, so the bigger the number, that means the bigger the contact area for your gas liquid. And you will notice that the diameter change. Okay, tray spacing. Okay, this is really important. For a tray spacing, usually one tray will be around 0.6 meter. For a packing height, you can check Google on Sulzer and then Melapak. That will give you the HETP, or the height equivalent of transfer. Okay, so each type of packing will have different HETP. Okay, for random packing, such as a pole ring or a Rashik ring, maybe those HETP will be around 0.6 meter. Okay, but for a structure packing, which gives a bigger contact area, the HETP will be smaller, and that's actually a good thing because we can reduce the height of the column. Okay, roughly for a structure packing such as Melapak, I guess the number would be around 0.4 meter for each stage. So if we have 5 stages, that means our section pack height would be 2 meter. Okay, 5 times 4.4. And for the bottom stage, now we have around 14 stages. So 14 times 0.4, that would be 5.6. Okay, so now you get a bigger diameter, but you actually get a shorter column. Okay, you get a shorter column, and this could be even cheaper than the previous design. You go to the detail again, no message, results by stage. Okay, everything looks good over here. You go to the second column. Okay, packing bed exceeds 4.6 meter. Okay, to achieve good liquid distribution and to prevent the pack bed from deforming under its own weight, consider decreasing the packing bed height. Okay, you want to decrease below 4.6 meter. Okay, that gives us roughly around 11 or 12 stages. Okay, so if you want to do that again, that's very possible. Let's say now the arrangement is changed because we want to keep one section of packing only to be 4.4 meter, which means 11 stages. Okay, that means I can only have from 9 to 19 by using the same HETP or the packing height. Okay, now my top section will be changed from 1 to 8. but increase the number, 8 stages times 0.4, that becomes 3.2 meter. Okay, check again the results. Okay, now the message disappear. That means okay, pressure drop for stage are below the minimum pressure drop packing height. Okay, that's below the packing height, so that gives us some error. So you probably notice that there are a lot of rooms of optimization for hydraulic evaluation. So luckily we can do that very easily using HYSYS. Within minutes or at least hours we can optimize this instead of using the hand calculation, which will requires a lot of time. Okay, so for now I will say that I will change it back to my previous setting. So I will ignore the message and we will go into the next part of the simulation. Okay, so I will change it back again, 14, so that's 5.6. Okay, so let's ignore the warning for now, at least it's not an error. Okay, so I will accept this warning at this point. Even you can actually solve it directly by adding the third section. Okay, adding the third section, so now from stage 6, let's say, to stage 16, and then last from stage 17 to stage 19. That will solve the problem. So, but I will leave to you to do that. Okay, so I'll save it. So now the distillation column is finished, and you can perform the second distillation similarly with the previous distillation. So add the separator, distillation column, okay, and then split it so the let down feed will goes into the rigorous distillation, and perform the rest of the simulation with the similar step. Okay, open the shortcut, see the performance, put the actual number of trays, put the optimal feed stages, and then check your reflux ratio 1.6, which will be changed later on, okay, to get into your final compositions. And then after that you play around with this input, okay, define the streams, the mass stream and the energy streams, finish everything until you get the internal, similar to the first step. I will leave it at this point in this video so that you can practice for this second distillation column. Use the same principle, and we will confirm the results at the course session. Okay, so I guess that will sums up my content for this video. You finish the reactor parts. Okay, you can remove the ignore now because now it's already finished. Okay, so the reactor already finished, the first distillation column already finished, the second distillation column I will leave it for you for exercise using the same principle. Okay, so thank you for your attention. We will see you and discuss in the class session, and see you in the next video as well.